Okay, so we just looked at how the Spanish and the French came to explore and settle in Texas, all right? And we stopped at about the year 1750. Now we're going to jump ahead to about the year 1820. We're going to look at how Americans began to settle in Texas, okay? So we looked at Spanish and French exploration and settlement. Now we're jumping ahead, 1820. We're going to look at American settlement in Texas, all right? So we're going to go from about 1820 to about 1836, right? Those few years, right? Just 16 years, not very long, okay? So in 1820, the Spanish government, Spain still controlled Texas and Mexico, of course, and they wanted to increase, the Spanish government wanted to increase the number of settlers in Texas. There's only about 3,500 Mexican settlers lived in Texas at the time, so not very many people, mainly here around San Antonio and Goliad in that area, but other places too, but not very many people lived here, okay? So the Spanish government wanted to increase that. So what they did was they created the Impresario System, okay? So the Impresario, right, system. They created this, and that's just a land grant system, okay? A land grant system. So the impresario was the land agent, was responsible for bringing settlers, in this case, from the U.S. I mean, there were other impresarios too who brought more settlers from Mexico, okay, north. But here we're talking about this system to bring Americans south, or west, I guess, okay, but south and west, into Texas from the U.S. Now, the first impresario was Moses Austin, okay? We're talking 1820, first impresario, Moses Austin. He was the first one, but he died in 1821. 1820, 1821, okay? So 1821, I'm going to put a couple years here. 1821, big things happened. One was Moses Austin died, and he was never able to fulfill his role as the impresario. So his son, Stephen F. Austin, he took over as impresario, right? And another thing happened was Mexican independence from Spain. Mexican independence. But the Mexican government, the new Mexican government, right, independence, 1821, they wanted to continue this process, this idea of bringing American settlers down into Texas, okay? So in 1822, Stephen F. Austin, he brought the old 300 into Texas. This was the first group of families, 300 families from the U.S. down into Texas, right, to settle in Texas. And it was kind of in this area, right around here. Okay, kind of right. You don't have to know the exact area, but it's just useful, I think, to know. You're not going to get tested probably on remembering that, but kind of in here, it was Austin's colony. Now, eventually there were other colonies, okay? There were other impresarios. It's just that these guys were the first, okay? So they're in the Teaks. But another name, Martin de Leon. Martin de Leon. He was another impresario. He brought settlers up from Mexico, okay? From Mexico, right? Now, this was very popular. Not so popular from the Mexican side, right? Bringing people up, because by 1836, you only had about 7,800, right, Mexican citizens, Mexican settlers in Texas. But we had about, they had about 30,000 American settlers. So, and I put that verses because it wasn't exactly verses, but it's going to give us a sense of, or hopefully this will give you a sense of why I'm talking 1836, why revolution happened, okay? Because that's in 1836, why that happened, okay? So this was the Impresario system bringing settlers into Texas. Starts at 1820, just a short period of time, to 1836. Right? And this is what's in the text. It's probably what you need to know. And the next thing we're going to look at in this video is what caused all of these settlers, all of these 30,000 settlers, in the short period of time, 16 years, not very long, what caused them to want to break free, to become independent from, from Mexico. Okay? And that's going to be in the next video.